Imagine, if you will, the ability to traverse time as easily as we do space. An enticing proposition, isn't it? Time travel, a concept that has intrigued humanity for centuries. It's a staple of science fiction, gracing the pages of countless novels and lighting up the silver screen in numerous blockbusters. From H.G. Wells' The Time Machine to the iconic Back to the Future series, we've been captivated by the idea of hopping through the ages, witnessing history unfold or catching a glimpse of the future yet to come. But is this all purely fictional? Science may have something to say about that. Theoretical physicists have dabbled in the realm of time travel, with theories like Einstein's relativity suggesting that time is not as linear as we might think. While we're far from building our own DeLorean, the scientific community hasn't entirely ruled out the possibility. So let's set our sights on a specific era. Let's dive into a journey back to the 1950s. With the power of time travel, we find ourselves in the midst of the 1950s. A decade that brims with the exuberance of post-war prosperity, yet is tinged with the Cold War's frosty tension. Our journey takes us to the heart of this remarkable era, where we find ourselves immersed in a world of jukeboxes and jazz, rock and roll and rhythm and blues. It's the age of Elvis Presley, Marilyn Monroe, and James Dean, icons who captured the spirit of rebellion and individuality that defined the decade. On the streets, you'll find a parade of fin-tailed Cadillacs, and in the skies, the trailblazing jet airliners. The television has become a common household item, bringing families together in living rooms across the nation. But the 1950s is not just about cultural shifts. It's a decade marked by significant historical events. The Korean War rages on in the early part of the decade, a conflict that underscores the larger ideological clash between the East and West, communism and capitalism. Back at home, the civil rights movement is gaining momentum. The landmark Brown versus Board of Education case in 1954 signals a pivotal moment in the fight against racial segregation, setting the stage for a decade of profound social change. Meanwhile, in the realm of science, the decade is marked by a race to the stars. The launch of Sputnik in 1957 by the Soviet Union marks the dawn of the space age, a new frontier of exploration and discovery. From music to movies, from politics to pop culture, the 1950s is a decade of contrasts. It's an era of optimism and anxiety, of conformity and rebellion, of peace and conflict. In the midst of this whirlwind of change, one thing remains constant: the human spirit's resilience and adaptability. Whether it's tackling societal issues or reaching for the stars, the people of the 1950s show us that with courage and determination, anything is possible. The 1950s, a decade of transformation and growth, etching its mark on history. The 1950s, a time that still resonates in our modern world, a decade where the world was in the throes of change, and the echoes of which are still felt today. A time of transformation and revolution in all aspects of life. One of the most significant cultural shifts was the birth of rock and roll. This was the decade when Elvis Presley, Chuck Berry, and Little Richard became household names, and their music broke down barriers, challenging the societal norms of the time. Their influence was far-reaching, creating a new era of music that continues to inspire artists today. The 1950s also saw the beginning of the civil rights movement. Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and others stood up against racial segregation and discrimination, sparking a wave of change that would redefine the social landscape of America. Their fight for equal rights was a powerful testament to the spirit of resilience and determination. On the global stage, the 1950s marked the escalation of the Cold War. The United States and the Soviet Union engaged in a tense standoff, leading to an arms race and the space race. This period of geopolitical tension had a profound impact on international relations and continues to shape global politics. In essence, the 1950s was a pivotal decade in our history. It was a time of cultural upheaval, social change, and political tension. The 1950s, a decade that has left an indelible mark on our world. Time travel, a concept as fascinating as it is complex. Theoretical implications of time travel are profound, suggesting an intriguing interplay between the past, present, and future. By revisiting the past, specifically the 1950s, we gain valuable insights, lessons, and perspectives that guide our present decisions and shape our future. This exploration of time is not just about nostalgia or curiosity, it's about understanding the causality of events and envisaging a better tomorrow. As we step back into our timeline, we carry with us the echoes of the past, a reminder of the 1950s and its lasting impact. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.